substance of the bill. But let's take a moment to step back and understand the bigger picture of what we are trying to accomplish. ESAs provide students and families the ability to investigate and select the educational forum that best suits their needs. The best school for a child may offer smaller class sizes, a vocational technical program, or a move-on-when-ready system for gifted students, or a particular expertise with a child's special needs. In addition to better serving our students, choice will empower their parents to get engaged in their children's education. These reforms will create better accountability in education, the single biggest factor in improving academic performance. Some critics of school choice fail to appreciate that school choice is neither an indictment on public schools nor a battle of public versus private schooling. It's about giving disadvantaged and special needs students and their families the opportunity to excel in an education that fits their needs. Facilitating scholarships to disadvantaged and special needs students should not be a partisan issue. After all, few object to scholarships to attend colleges and universities. Why should we wait that long to offer students a chance for educational success? We must close the educational opportunity gap for every student in our state. ESAs are about looking to the future in education, a future starkly different from today. We know the 21st century school must be different than the 19th and 20th century system we're still living with. But how? That's the role of innovation, a process that is, by its nature, incremental, testing for successes while leaving behind what proves ineffective. Choices in education will kickstart that innovation process. Sincerely, Christopher T. Sununu, Governor of the State of New Hampshire. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here today. To my friends and colleagues in the House, this is our opportunity to show our commitment to new and innovative education programs in our state. This bill establishes a program that will give less fortunate families the chance to explore education options that may not normally be within their reach. Several of our education and finance policy experts have been working on this legislation for months, and some for years. They've worked with stakeholders to identify and fix issues along the way. We've added reasonable safeguards to ensure our public schools continue to be strong and well-funded. And the bill has been tailored to ensure those with the greatest financial needs are the beneficiaries of the program in this first stage. This bill has seen more thorough, thoughtful, and detailed work as any bill I've seen in my years here in Concord. And we appreciate all the time and effort the working groups and advocates have put in. My friends, now is the time to move forward on this important bill and extend education opportunities across our state. Let's come together to pass the Umberger Amendment and pass the bill this week. This bill is good for education. It's good for kids. I don't want this chance to make a real difference pass us by. Thank you. And before I leave the podium, I'm going to say something off script. Today is my birthday. As a present to me and to these children, thank you. As a present to me and these children, I ask my fellow House members, pass this legislation this week. Thank you.
Chairman of Finance Division 2 that's been working very hard on this bill, Representative Karen Umberger.
Thank you, Glenn, and what a great day. The sun is shining. It's supposed to be 60 today and 80 tomorrow. Summer is coming. Most of the comments that are floating around currently about SB 193 are based on the bill that came to finance from the Education Committee. We have in the Finance Committee the amendment that will be before the House tomorrow, caps the number of students eligible statewide to 527. This is not the disastrous taking away financing from your local schools. Also, we have changed the eligibility level to those that are at 185% of poverty. Also, you cannot enter into the ESA program unless you have attended 1 year of public school. And that 1 year does not include kindergarten. Also, for any school that loses a child to an ESA program, they will be provided $100 or $1,500 for that child in the second year that they have gone. A child at 185% for the ESA program will receive in 2020 $5,806. For the parent-directed program, each child will receive $2,879. If all of the eligible students enter the program and stay until graduation, it will roughly cost $99 million. In the past 10 years, there has been a reduction in the public schools of 20,000 students. That's in New Hampshire. So we are looking at a very, very small number of students that are even eligible for the ESA program. And I'm telling you, this is such a great program that we in New Hampshire need to pass this on Thursday. Thank you.
Next is Mr. Drew Cline, president of the Josiah Bartlett Center.
Hello. So it's my job here to add a little context to these numbers. You just heard and you'll hear from opponents of this bill that it's going to cost $99 million. Oh my God, the sky is falling. And you have to put that number in context. The $99 million represents a $9 million average per year over 11 years. That is a projection of an 11-year cost to the districts for kids who get an ESA. And you have to put that in context of what public school funding is going to be over those 11 years. We did a little projection, and I'm going to show you a little graph here. This represents $99.43 million, the cost to districts. This is total public education funding over the same period, $26.5 billion. It doesn't even represent 0.5% of public education spending in the state of New Hampshire over the next 11 years by our calculations, and I think we actually projected this a little low. It's 0.37% of public education spending over 11 years. That is absolutely manageable for New Hampshire. The LPA projects a low of 527 students taking an ESA in year 1 and a high of 2,021 students in year 10. When we analyzed this bill a few months ago, we calculated for worst case scenario. We calculated the cost to local districts if 4,175 students statewide took an ESA. So that's more than twice the high that the LPA projects. Our cost was $4,800 versus $5,800, so it's a little bit lower in cost, but it's more than twice the number. We found doing that calculation that every district in the state would keep more than 98% of its operating budget if more than twice as many kids take a scholarship as the LPA projects will take a scholarship. So the idea that this is going to decimate public school budgets is not accurate. In the last 10 years, New Hampshire Public Schools' recurring expenditures grew by $450.8 million, according to the State Department of Education data. At the same time, enrollment statewide fell by 21,000 students. So school districts have enjoyed an 18% increase in funding over the last decade while experiencing an 11.4% decrease in enrollment. More context, from 1992 to 2015, the number of full-time equivalent personnel in New Hampshire public schools increased by 56%. The increase in teachers was 29%, but the increase in non-teaching staff was 89%. The idea that a 0.37% decrease in public education funding over a decade is going to require tax increases or require mass teacher layoffs is not consistent with the data. About 72% of public school costs are variable, meaning they can be changed in the short term. The LBA's estimated cost of an ESA is $5,800 per student. I think that's a little high. But even using that, it comes to 37% of the state's 2017 average per pupil cost, meaning schools can make adjustments to the variable costs for losing a couple of kids. It will not devastate schools. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Next is Mr. Harold Turner, President and CEO of the Turner Group here in Concord.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here today just as a New Hampshire businessman to give you my perspective, as well as chair of the Granite Institute, which delves into these issues as well on a statewide basis. One thing I can tell you is that the world is constantly changing. Businesses are constantly changing. Just in my short lifetime as a business owner over the past 30 years, it's all about change, and education is no different in terms of what people want, what businesses want, what parents want. I can go on my phone and choose my electricity supplier, what kind of power I want to buy. Just about anything you can think of today with a smartphone, you can go ahead and access it. Change is difficult, and obviously change in education from the status quo is difficult. But especially also having experience as a parent who's gone through the difficulties of raising a child with needs. It can't be left to the wealthy. It can't be left to those that are on the right side of the bell curve to be able to successfully deal with those challenges. God didn't make children that way. So we have to find a way as a community, as a state, to access every child's potential, especially those children who may not have the advantages that some other children have. And there's nothing more difficult or heartbreaking than looking in the eyes of a parent who see their child struggling in education or failing in education and not having any means whatsoever to do something about it. That's what this bill gets to, and it's, I think, a great start for New Hampshire. It's not the end, it's the start, and you're going to see pressure on change continue, I know, for the rest of my lifetime. And education has to delve into that kind of change as well. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Next we have Richard Gerard, who is a member of the Manchester School Board and, more importantly, father of 5.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Gerard, and it is my honor to serve now in my second term representing the entire city of Manchester as an at-large member of this school board. And while my board has seen fit to oppose Senate Bill 193 out of fear it will cost the city to lose money, I have come here to support the bill, and my reasons are many. First and foremost, I don't happen to believe that parents will pull their kids out of our district in droves. While Manchester, like many districts, has its challenges, it also provides opportunities that many districts don't and can't. The STEAM Ahead, ROTC, Theater, American Sign Language, or other magnet programs are just some of Manchester's many unique offerings. And Senate Bill 193 would make it possible, more possible, for our district to attract students from tuition-paying students who want to participate in these programs. And then there's Manchester School of Technology, the four-year high school, which quite simply is one of the best in the nation when it comes to vocational technical education. Wouldn't it be nice if parents outside the city of Manchester could take advantage of that option? And let us not forget the vast array of AP classes that would also attract students to our district. Quite simply, it seems to me that if Manchester plays its cards right, it stands to gain many new tuition-paying students as a result of Senate Bill 193. And an example of this can be seen in my own once-upon-a-time charter-attending school daughter, who saw her older brother and sister taking classes at Manchester Community College through the STEAM Ahead program at West and asked to be transferred to the school, which she now attends. That said, Manchester, like other communities, may, quote-unquote, lose students, which may cause us to lose state aid. And so I think it merits taking a look at that possibility. And first, I have to say, as a father, that my 5 children all have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to school. And as a parent, I have sent my kids to Catholic school, private school, charter school, public magnet school programs outside of our attendance area, and yes, we've homeschooled. It has been an incredible challenge to find the best fit for my kids, and yes, my family's options have been limited by our financial abilities. So let me be clear. When school districts complain they may lose funding because low and moderate income families might gain the financial wherewithal wealthy families have to make other choices for their kids, they're failing to consider what's in the best interest of that child because it might leave the school district. They're also failing to acknowledge that families make these decisions for what they believe are their child's best interests. And as someone who believes he was elected to advocate for the interest of every child, I find it incomprehensible that those who say there